Talking about the uniqueness of the place where or the society where you're able to attain this spiritual elevation. How do you see your position contributing to that religious diversity and dialogue in Nigeria and beyond? And then, most importantly, how do you think, or what role does the Hausa Catholic community or Catholic community play in fostering religious diversity, religious dialogue, to ensuring that there is peaceful coexistence in the society, especially in the face of adversity?
Yes, I think interreligious dialogue is something that the Catholic Church takes very seriously all over the world, because the Church exists in the midst of other people. As Christians and as Catholics, we normally encourage our people to engage with the society, to develop authentic relationship with people of other faith. We encourage dialogue, interreligious dialogue at different levels. We have interreligious dialogue that we call the dialogue of life, which is a daily interaction between people in the marketplaces, in the schools, and in the rest of the different endeavors of life. We also have the dialogue of theological understanding, or dialogue that exists between theological experts, and that is among scholars. And this kind of dialogue is the dialogue it's a dialogue where we do not argue so much about our faith or about our doctrines, but it's a dialogue where we talk about the different concepts of life, such as death, such as prophets, such as mysticism, and the rest. And then we also have what is referred to as the dialogue of action. And the dialogue of action is that form of dialogue whereby with other members of other faith, we participate or cooperate or join hands together in development projects or in the issues of development, justice, and peace. Now, we also have a dialogue of spirituality or a dialogue of prayer, whereby in some places and in some situations where the society or the community face, challenge. I've seen in some situations in some parts of the north where there is drought, for example, where there are days and weeks without rain and the crops are dying. We see Christians and Muslims gathering to pray together because there is a common problem. There are situations like that. So we try as much as possible to encourage people to engage in the dialogue of life, to engage in the dialogue of action, to engage in the dialogue of spirituality, and to engage in the dialogue of theological discourse.
Right. Now, you grew up in Malumfashi. Can you tell us about the transition from Christian to priesthood? And by that, I also want you to talk about your time in the primary school, your interaction with your people, because you were in a school in which predominantly Muslim students, and you said that in that school everything went very well, but then you transited from being in the secular environment into an episcopal direction. Can you track that transition and what you went through?
Okay. I think growing up in Malumfashi was one of the best things that have happened to me. Growing up in Malumfashi in Katsina State gave me the opportunity to go through a public primary school. And this public primary school is known as Tenau Primary School. It is still in existence. Each time I pass through the school, I'm happy that I was able to go through this school. And in that school, of course, you would not know that there's a difference between Christians and Muslims, except in the moment when it comes to teaching of religion. Normally, we as Christians during classes will leave the class and then go to our CRK, that's Christian Religious Knowledge, and then leave the Muslims in class, in the larger class, to attend to their classes of faith, that is Islamic Religious Knowledge, which is IRK. So, but generally, on football fields, we played together. In the class, we interacted together. We interacted so much. And then in terms of differences, you would not know much differences. Among the teachers we had teachers from different parts of the country. Our head teacher at that time was a man called David Ohehe, who happens to come from Edo State precisely. My class teacher was Mrs. Ido. And then we had other teachers whose origin is from Malumfashi in Katsina State. But what I'm trying to establish is that we had teachers from different parts of the country. And then we also had students or pupils from different parts of the country. Then at weekends, as Catholics, we went for practice, altar servers practice. So I began as an altar server in the church called St. Vincent Ferrer Church. St. Vincent Ferrer Church was run by the Dominicans. And the Dominicans had a very big influence in my life today. So at weekends, we were engaged in parish activities. But not only weekend, but also during the weekday. We also engaged in what is called catechism, which is faith formation. So all this strengthened my faith. And what is more, after my primary school in Tuno Primary School, I went to St. Joseph's Minor Seminary in Zaria. And that also consolidated my faith. And there I went, from there to Makurdi, St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary in Makurdi, and then for philosophy, and then later to St. Augustine's Major Seminary in Jos. So all this is a summary of my journey in the faith.
One is this issue of is it Maguzawa, where they call people who means run away in the north. Were you ever called that? And how do you refer to that phenomenon? And secondly, what is your attitude towards the whole concept of Christian radicalism? I mean, I'm referring to the movement started by Gustavo Guterres.
Okay. So the concept of Maguzawa comes literally from the word Bamaguji. Bamaguji is the singular term that is used for Maguzawa. Maguzawa is a generic term that is used for people who have stuck, who never left their traditional religion. There are different understandings, there are different concepts and ideas about the word Bamaguji or Maguzawa. A man who is a Bamaguji is somebody who, some people will say is that person who remains as a traditionalist. And then a Bamaguza, which is the feminine version, is someone who has stuck to the traditional religion. But again, there are some people who refer to Maguzawa as the original Hausa people who have maintained not only their faith, but their tradition through the years. So, for those who refer to Maguzawa as those who have run away from Islam, we will say that everybody is a Bamaguji, because generally in Nigeria and in many other African traditions, we were not originally Christians. We were not originally Muslims. Almost everyone who had Christianized or anyone who was Islamized came from the traditional religion. If it is not directly from us, then our ancestors left their traditional religion and then came to the new religions that we have today, as Christianity and Islam. So if the term Bamaguje or Maguzawa means those who have left their traditional religion, or those who have run away from their traditional religion, from Islam or Christianity, that means that everyone is a Bamaguje, because we have all run away from our traditional religion.
Allow me to butt in, and I want you to quickly react to, because we're pressed for time, I want you to quickly react to the news that is rife, or news that is making the rounds as regards the Pope asking or saying that there can be blessing for same-sex marriage. And I know that Nigerian bishops, Catholic bishops, reject the blessing for same-sex marriage. How do you weigh in on this? Because I know that there are about at least 6 different verses in the Bible that speaks to the issue of same-sex marriage. Could you quickly expatiate on this?
Okay, I think the whole issue of same-sex marriage has generated a whole lot of debate, or there has been an intensity of the debate since last Monday. The document coming from the Pope is very explicit, is very clear about same-sex marriage. That document does not accept same-sex marriage. That document does not tolerate same-sex marriage. That document does not approve of same-sex marriage. But we have all kinds of interpretations. There are many who have not read that document, and they have jumped into all kinds of interpretation. What the Pope says is that everyone can be blessed. The church consists of saints and sinners. We cannot bless some and not bless others. The document says that we cannot give formal blessing to those who are in same-sex union, but we can bless them generally as we bless every other person.
All right.
The mission and purpose of the church is the salvation of all, and everyone is entitled to blessing. But the church does not in any way approve of same-sex union or marriage.